There was this, have you seen those TikToks where there's like a sister and a brother, and he does like, he does these, and then she goes to scratch the. And we're filming! Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to Wait What? Hi guys, I'm Anne.
And I'm Anne.
And together, we're Anne!
Today is actually a really special episode for us because we're talking about something that has really shaped us into who we are till this very day.
And it's been a topic that a lot of you guys have requested from us. So we decided to actually make this episode a two-part episode because we felt like one episode was just not enough to share the full raw experience with you guys because there's a lot that you guys know that is seen on social media, but there's also a lot of things that you guys don't know that is behind the scenes that we want to also shed light on because I think it's those moments in those difficult times that actually do shape us.
Yeah. So you'll really hear about like the glam, the grind, the tears, a lot of tears, and kind of everything in between. And this is our journey of
Miss Universe!
You come from a pageant background, obviously going through Supra and being Thailand's first crown as well. What made you want to come back into the pageant world again?
I wouldn't really say that my background is like เดินสาย because I didn't go to like many different pageants. I did one purely out of the curiosity of what it was like and just seeing if I would do well out of competitive spirit. My friend called me and she was like, do you want to try? I didn't even know what it was at the beginning. And then I was 23 or 22, 23. I still had my braces on. I still was like baby fat, like not really in shape, so to say. I wasn't really focused on my blue black.
Yeah.
So I just went purely to gain experience. But I did learn a lot from that because even though I grew up in a very competitive environment with like sports, I had a lot of moments where I gave up on myself because of what I thought people expected from me and what I expected from the stereotype of what beauty queens were. So like I always say in interviews, like I had this one talk with my dad before the swimming suit round that like I'm definitely not gonna win because I don't have this beauty queen body type. And I was like, I'm not even gonna go because I know I'm gonna get so bullied from this. And then my dad was like, how do you know that you're not gonna win when you haven't even tried? So you're gonna give up on yourself and not give yourself the opportunity to even show what you've got, and you're already gonna say no? And then that's what like constantly is going on in my head when I am like competing. So this is something I actually took with me before I decided to go to Miss Universe Thailand. It was a really hard decision because it was very like 50-50, right? If I went, people would say I was greedy for the crown because I had already won the international pageant. But the thing is, I won during COVID. I felt like I really found my voice and my passion for it because before I won, I never felt like my voice was really that important. I felt like nobody really cared what I had to say and nobody really respected my presence when I walked into a room. So after kind of letting the crown settle in, I was like, you know what, if people didn't want to hear my voice and what I had to say, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be in that room. They wouldn't be standing there. They wouldn't be waiting to support me. And then that was when I really found like my strength. And I was like, I think I feel and I know I can do more. I can go further. I can give back and use my platform for something that's greater than this. And now this opportunity has come. I have more experience, I have more background, I have a stronger team, and I have a better understanding of what's expected and how I want to approach it. So I did give a call to like the previous organization, Miss Supranational, and I asked them for permission. Well, not really asked them for permission, but I asked them for their understanding. I told them this was the plan. I want to join because I think this would open a lot of doors for me, especially in the industry that I want to continue in. and I hope that you're okay with it, and I would really like your support and kind of like your blessing in a way, because I don't think I would have been able to really go with like a clean slate and a clear mindset if they hadn't been like, yeah. But they were really, really supportive of it. They were like, yes, follow your dream. Like, if this is what you want to do, we completely support you. Although it's tough to hear, which is understandable, we only want what's best for you. And it was so comforting. So after I had that call and I had that like validation from them, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna do it clean slate. No, like, oh, I won previously, so I know I'm gonna win. Not that mindset. I came like completely นางสาว Antonia Posiu นครราชสีมา because this was the year where they started doing provincial competitions, and I said I'm not doing any province except for Nakhon Ratchasima, which is my mom's province, because I felt like I really had that deep connection to Korat because of my grandmother and my childhood spent there, and I would always go and why Yamo, and I always had this very spiritual connection to her, and I felt like this is what I needed to kind of give that extra push. So yeah, that's when it started, and it was definitely a tough ride to say the least. A lot of people were continuously saying like, oh, she's greedy, like Lok Mong, or she already like already had the crown planned for her, which was actually not the case. During the entire competition, there was just like complete ups and downs of emotions. Like I had like my team, like they were super supportive, but then there were days like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is not me. I felt like I was trying so hard to be what other people wanted that I lost my sense of self. And then when I started to gain like this mentality of like, you know what? Like if they don't want me for me, then they don't deserve me, and this is not for me. Just simple as that. Yeah, just like the beginning of that was really, really stressful, and I had like so many nights where I would just like cry in the shower and really feel like maybe this is not meant for me. But then I always think back to this conversation with my dad, like, how do you know you're not going to win if you haven't even tried? Yeah, I always think back, like, the girl who joined her first pageant, who didn't have any experience, who fought to be there, who fought to, you know, represent her country and to represent herself and to represent all the people who maybe didn't look like beauty queens, but could still have the opportunity to shine. Like, you can still win and have braces on. You can still win and not be like size 0. Like, the whole point is so that you are embodying everyone. And actually, one of the push factors for me for joining Miss Universe Thailand was you. I'm serious. I remember that year.
What?
I was still deciding with the year that
Was that after we went to? No, you already
this was
decided.
before we actually met.
We met in like 2021.
No, we like properly met and got close and like got to know each other after.
It's 22. It was during the when I was seeing someone.
Oh yeah, no, but I didn't know you because I remember I was like, should I message Anne? Like, I really like her. Like, I was a fan. And then I was like seeing her journey. I was like Team Anne like the whole time. I was like, I hope she wins. Like, I love like her, like the movement that you created, like Real Size Beauty. I was like, this is exactly what Thai people need right now, especially in this day and age where like you need to be comfortable in your own skin and be proud of who you are. And to me, what Real Size Beauty meant was real, like what is you, real for you, and the best version of yourself. And I feel like a lot of people misunderstand that sometimes. Like, they'll say like, oh, if you're plus size, then it's Real Size Beauty. But Real Size Beauty is what's real for you. Whether you're born a certain way or this certain way, and then you make yourself the best version of yourself, that's real. So then I was like, yeah, you know what? If she can go up there and like rock that stage, I can do it too. And I was like, I love this. I love this. This is what Thailand needed.
What, invisible string theory?
Yeah. Don't say that. Because I feel like even though pageantry can have a lot of like toxicity and we all go through our own different journeys, it brought us together because of the similarities that we shared.
Go through it was tough on me too, not to make it about me, but because the point that you were going through the competition, like obviously everyone already knows like you're my best friend and they knew that we were close from before. So watching you go through it was like I felt for you because I saw the times where you wanted to give up. I saw the times where you were going through personal things as well that made it really difficult for you. I saw the times where you shined like crazy, but I watched the whole journey. So seeing you end up here right now where you are, like it makes sense, you know. Everything just fell into place exactly how it needed to till this day.
That really brings like the quote, like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And like, you know, sometimes it's not the way that we planned and not the way that we want, but it's character building.
It's character building. We're all about growing and glowing.
That is true. But I know that my journey was much different to yours. I want to know like what actually made you join, because you didn't have any pageant background at all, and you came like hello.
I was just like, hi. I didn't come like hello. I came like hi. No, I think my campaign really was the reason I wanted to join. Like hearing you talk about your super experience and how you didn't even like, you felt uncomfortable like in a swimsuit. You didn't feel like you were going to win because of that. Like that was it. That was the reason, you know, because it consumes you when you don't fit into like a standard, when you feel like your body is not good enough and you feel like you're not as special or you're not as beautiful simply because of your body. And I'm not saying like it's an excuse to be unhealthy. It's not an excuse to be like obese, you know, because I'm all about health. But I think a healthy body looks very different depending on the person. So I wanted to talk about that as well because I understood, of course, like you had to have like a decent body for pageantry. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But healthy for you and healthy for me is different. And I wanted to bring up a space where you can respect that. Yeah. And that was the reason I wanted to join. I also had my grandmother before she passed away, probably like 10 years ago, maybe. She used to walk me around her village in Chachangsao. And she was like, "Lanจะโตมาเป็นนางงามนะ." Like it was like she already knew that one day I was going to do it. And it never crossed my mind until I finished uni and I was back in Thailand. And I was like, you know what? I want to try it. And I want to try it with this. So it was like knowing that my grandmother, who I love so much, wanted me to do it. I had a purpose because everything I do, I always have to have a purpose for it. Like I don't just do things just to do things. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let's do it. Let's try it. But I didn't know the extent of it. You know, I knew who Miss Universe Thailands were in the past, but I never saw the whole competition.
Yeah, same.
And I was in for a surprise. I knew what my team told me to expect. But when you go through it yourself, it's a whole different ballgame.
Completely different.
My audition night, we didn't wrap up until, 2 a.m.? We had to khao gong, like go into camp 7 a.m. the next day.
But you also competed during COVID.
I did.
So the timings were much more strict.
It was so strict.
Because of like, you had to be very separated from everyone else. Yeah. So that must have been like much more stressful.
Yeah.
And less sleep.
Less sleep. We didn't get a hair and makeup team to come in. And I'm over it now. But the following years that had the hair and makeup team, I was so petty. Because I was like, we have to wake up 2 hours earlier. So we're running on like 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep for weeks back to back to back. And we have to do our makeup. You know, and then I saw like the previous years where you guys could fall asleep on the makeup chair and you wake up and you're fine. So you get that extra 2 hours. I was so petty. So like that experience made it harder because I was so new. Yeah. I barely knew how to do my makeup. Yeah. You know, like I didn't know what blending eyeshadow was. My makeup routine was concealer, blush, mascara, and I didn't even wear lipstick. So it was a whole like different ballgame. I didn't even wear heels.
Nice.
I didn't know how to walk in heels, so I would have like swollen ankles. But I couldn't complain about it because that's on me. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So that whole experience was like a lot, but I learned so much. I learned discipline. I learned to push through. I learned like what the real fighter mentality was. Because yes, I grew up in a competitive background as well with sports. Like volleyball was my dream, but you were a team.
Yeah.
This is like you are a team, but you're like
You're the front runner.
you're the front. Like it's actually just you.
Yeah.
Your team can tell you what to do, but it's up to you if you're
Yeah.
going to do it or not.
Yeah.
And it's like that emotional roller coaster of the whole thing. But yeah, I joined because of that. And what happened during the competition was like just learning and learning and learning and learning.
Yeah.
But I reached a point where I was like, holy I can win this. Because I was so oblivious. I was literally just like, I barely spoke Thai, you know, just like floating around, like doing what I was told to do, just being me. But I didn't realize that I was actually a front runner. Mm-hmm. And when it clicked like preliminary night, I would say, the day after I saw the crown, I was like, holy fuck. Like it's there, you know? And then it was like that mental battle of like, now what? And I did exactly what you did. I just let it go. Yeah. I was like, I'm just here to have fun now. Like, I don't want this stress. Like, it's something clicked in me where I was like, if I don't enjoy, no one else will.
Yeah.
If I'm not myself, if I'm not authentic, if I try to be something I'm not, I'm going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So I think that's where our similarity was. And I think that's where a lot of the winners' similarities were, where they just let go and they just enjoyed and they were just fully themselves. Because I think authenticity goes a very, very long way.
Yeah, that's true.
And pageant fans are so smart. They can see.
Yeah, they can see right through you.
They can see right through you. Like, so you obviously want to cater to them, but you also don't want to send the wrong message.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole thing.
I really resonate with like your moment with your grandma. I remember just after you said it, I remember one day I was like in the countryside with my grandma and we were just watching TV and I said to her like, one day you're going to see me on TV, okay? Whew, here we go.
It's recent for you.
Yeah, no, I was like, วันหนึงยายไม่จะเห็นหนูบนจอนะ and she was like, okay, I'll wait for you. Here we go. About when you saw the crown. Like, I didn't think it was gonna hit me as hard as it did, but like you said, when we go and compete, I feel like the most important thing you need when you compete is a purpose, something to work for. And for me, it was a lot to do with how I wanted to use my platform to give back to the community because I've been doing this for so long. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook. It's like your own choice, of course. So when they said the name was Light of Glory, I was like, I don't know why, it just like, I felt like it like hit a nerve in a good way. I was like, I feel like this is meant for me. And then when they opened the crown, it was like white and yellow stones, and yellow stones are my birthstone. So I was like, yeah, I was like, this crown is mine. Like it cannot be mine because I was born to wear this crown. But yeah, I felt like you said, authenticity is so important because the more you try to be someone you're not, the more stress and anxiety you get from trying to keep up with that look. And you're already trying to fight for your life pretty much. And the only thing you can do for yourself is to be who you are. Yeah. Fight for your authenticity, fight for your power to take up that space and to be a representative and an example to everyone that like your authenticity is what makes you shine.
Yeah.
If we wanted someone like this person or like this previous winner, then why would they have all these competitions over and over?
Yeah.
We don't want a copycat. No. We want someone who's better, who can do more, who can be like the best version of themselves. So yeah, I do agree with you. That's where I think a lot of us share that common thread.
You mentioned like that crown is mine, like you know.
Yeah.
Like you saying it now, I'm like, yeah. Something I think like for anybody who wants to join as well, one, you have to have that fighter mentality. And we're not saying it as in like we're fighters, but I'm saying it in like you have to want it enough to be willing to sacrifice everything during that time.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like an urge or like even almost like a gut feeling, like you know. Like when you were holding hands, waiting for them to announce the new Miss Universe Thailand, did you know?
It sounds very arrogant, I think, for me, but there was no other option.
Yeah.
Like in my head, it had to be me.
Yeah.
I could not see myself as first runner-up. Not to disrespect the first runner-up or the people who came to compete, but on that final night, even the preliminary, I remember this thought in my head, like every day that has come up to this day has led me and taught me so much.
Yeah.
And am I gonna yom pair now? The time where I have to shine and show everyone like I deserve this? No. So I said, you can't change anything in the past. You had your opportunity to do your best, and if you did, then you have nothing to regret. So leave that in the past, focus on the present. And like before the swimming suit on preliminary, I don't know what I was doing, but like, when I did like that,
Yeah.
no idea. No idea I did that until afterwards. I was like, after I did, I was like, what the f? Like, who the f does that? It was like, anyways. And I was like, this is my show. Everyone is here for me. And then I kind of just like let it go.
Yeah.
I let it go completely. Couldn't have a care in the world. I was like, you know what? If I fuck up, then I fuck up.
And you never shined more. No, like I'm saying, like, okay, let me just make something clear before I get into this whole thing. There has been like, obviously, Anne is my best friend. I was a judge. I get that. I understand like the whole, how you can perceive that it was biased. But you also have to understand that I have been in a position where I was a competitor. So I know every single girl there wanted that crown. So I have an obligation as a previous Miss Universe Thailand to give everyone a fair chance, friend or not.
Yeah.
And there was a time where you weren't your best self in the competition, and I voiced it as a judge. So, with that being said, because I've seen you in a time in the competition where you dropped, we know that, like after Hong Dam,
Yeah.
that was a really rough to watch you go through that too. So when you came onto that preliminary stage and you just shined, like all eyes were on you that night. Like you weren't exaggerating, you weren't being vain. Like it really is a fact. You wouldn't have reached that point if you didn't go through all the failures.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have reached that point if like there were moments in the competition where you weren't your best self. And I think it, again, like you always say, everything happens for a reason. And I think that had to happen for you to be the Antonia on that night. Yeah. And it just got better as final night came by, and like it was clear. It should have been you, the evidence speaks for itself, okay? Like, if you're gonna fight me for it, she was first runner-up Miss Universe, so
And also,
tell me I'm wrong.
A lot of people don't know this, but actually, Anne and I, we barely spoke during the competition.
About the competition.
But we never spoke about the competition. I never asked her for advice.
Yeah.
She never came like behind the scenes and said, you need to do this, like this is what they're asking. She never ever did that. And even at one point I was like, why isn't she like trying to help me? But then I was also like, I'm glad that she didn't, because I'm very much someone who, I like to wing it. I like to do everything on the spot, because the more I prepare, the more anxious I get, and then I just fumble and it just kind of gets worse and worse. But yeah, final night, I don't think we spoke either, like preliminary final. So I think a lot of people always say like, oh, she won because her best friend was a judge, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you guys need to trust that even though we're best friends, whether it's Anne or if it's someone else with another person, that they are professionals in what they do. And you have to trust that they will do the right thing, because, in the end, you're looking for someone who's representing your country. You're not looking for someone who's gonna like be your best friend, right?
But the reality is, I wasn't the only judge.
Exactly.
I'm one voice out of 17, 18.
Yeah.
And for the winner, it's majority.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we cleared that up. I'm very glad we cleared that up.
I remember your final night. I was at a football game. And I was looking on my phone with my mom, and I think it was I think it was when you answered your question.
Top 5 or top 3 question?
The thing about the environment,
Top 3.
like,
I think that was top 3.
and your answer was just like so good. It was so like well spoken, really well structured, and it just sounded like you knew exactly what you were talking about. You spoke with purpose, with knowledge, with like that push to also educate the people listening, and it sounded so easy as well. And when I heard the question, I was like, "What the f? Like, how is she gonna answer this question?" And I was like, after she won, I didn't even have to listen to anyone else. I was like, she's gonna win, like for sure. Like, how do you beat that?
Okay, so what went through your head when you won?
Nothing. I think I was just like completely like in shock that I actually made it here. Because I remember when I was a kid, I saw Maria on stage and her confidence and the way she shined and everything. I remember thinking to myself, I want to be like her. I want to be this woman who's so confident in herself that she just shines through her aura. That I can walk on a stage in front of thousands of people in a swimming suit and like look happy and also be like answering questions like and just that her entire persona on stage. I was like, I want to be like that. I want to have that confidence. And then I was like, I am her.
You are.
I am the girl that I wanted to be when I was little.
Yeah, but in your own version.
Yeah, in my own version. And I was just like, nice. Nice. And the only person I wanted to see was like my mom and my dad.
Oh, you should have seen them when you won. I was watching their reaction.
I saw like the what's it? Like the behind the scenes and like just like jumping and everything. And I was like, you know, in the end, as much as you fight for yourself, it is also for the people who brought you there. And actually, I tried to not talk to my parents the whole competition because I was like, I'm just gonna cry when I speak to them, right? So actually, the first person I called was Piluke
Really?
because she was like a second mom. She was like a second mom to me. Like she really saw my progress. So I called Piluke and I just like bawled in the bathroom, completely like. She answered the phone. I heard her voice and I just like went quiet for like 2 minutes. And she was like, "Hello, are you okay?" I was like. I was like, you know, when you win, it's so much more than you. It's everyone around you. It's your team. It's the people you represent. It's your country now.
Yeah, but it's still also...
It's still you. Yeah, of course. It's still for you. Like the you that didn't believe that you could get here.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you won, there was a moment your dad and I made eye contact. And I still, like, that's why I teared up, because I remember it so vividly, and it was like, he's just a dad. Like, he was just, like, yeah. And the pride that you would have brought to your parents. I know you're so close to it. Wow, we're all just crying. We're just, okay, first of all.
We knew this was going to be an emotional episode, okay?
But you're right, like it's so much, it is more than you, but I say that it's also about you because like every little girl just wants to make their dad proud, you know what I mean? And you did that. You really, really did that. I remember when I won and there was a part, I cried, right? You can see in the video as well, like one...
Thank you.
Thank you. One tear like dropped on my face. And I remember like I was standing like this and then I turned and I went like something like that. And that was me looking at my parents. Oh no, I'm so emotional. It was just like all I wanted was my were my mom and dad. And when, you know, the scene that they get to come up on stage and hug you. And it was like obviously the first time you've seen them since the competition because you're in the camp. My dad hugged me and he was like, "That's my girl." And I think like till this day it's just like completely stuck with me, you know? And so and at that point, like after winning, thank you. It's okay. I knew that after that competition, after winning, that was when the real game started. Like when it was like, now the real competition has really started.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a natural reaction to want your parents, like in the moment of like vulnerability, of like the proudest moment of your life at that point, for me at least. But also like the real fight's about to start.
Yeah.
Having my parents,
I think just to like end this part one, I think a lot of people are so into like the glitz and the glam of pageantry that they forget that as contestants and as competitors, it is a mental, emotional, and physical sacrifice you have to make. You really have to be a fighter. You have to fight to win, but you also have to fight the thoughts in your head. The thoughts that tell you that like you can't do it. The thoughts that say that you don't look pretty enough, or the thoughts that run through your mind because you accidentally looked at those comments, and then you have your own life that you have to deal with, right? And
life
your own
goes
stress.
on.
Yeah, life goes on, but you have to choose to get up and fight, because this is once in a lifetime opportunity. So I agree when it comes to like sacrifices that a lot of people tend to overlook, but in the end, like it just feels that much better when you've succeeded. And of course, everyone wants to win, but in the end, there's only one winner, and sometimes people say it's not fair, but that's not our responsibility to make someone understand why we deserve to win. And in the end, you just want to make yourself proud and your parents proud and our grandma's proud. It's just like, there's so many emotions involved, and you still have to just stand there and be like,
Smile.
and that forehead band, man.
You'll be funny. We both have the forehead band on my fingers. I remember when I was holding the flowers, my fingers were like...
Those flowers are heavy.
They're really
too.
heavy.
They're
Beautiful,
so heavy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're
flow design.
very beautiful.
Heavy when
Very
you're in
heavy.
your heels. A heavy dress, because like those dresses are heavy.
And then now there's a
The
crown on your
crown,
head.
and it doesn't fit you properly yet. But with that being said, being your Miss Universe Thailand was probably the biggest honor of my life till this day.
Yeah.
It worth every single hardship, every
fight.
every single fight. Like it's an honor to have like the Thailand sash on your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we'll see you in part 2.
See you in part 2, because that's where it will really get emotional. Now I can tell you that.
Yeah.
No, but like you said, that's when we realize, this is where it starts.
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning.
It was only the beginning.
See you in part 2.
Chup chup.